Hey, what's up guys, Jed here. Intermittent fasting versus the keto diet, which one's better? Good question. Let's talk about it. But before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you stay up to date whenever I post a new video. Alright, so the good old battle between intermittent fasting and the keto diet. Some people lean more towards intermittent fasting, and some people lean more towards the keto diet. One thing I want you guys to understand is that both of these diets, or whatever you want to label them as, requires you to be in a caloric deficit. That's never going to change. Intermittent fasting is more of just something that tells you when to eat and when not to eat. That's it. Whereas with keto, in short, it just involves you having to have less of something and more of something. In this case, less carbs and more fats and proteins. Why less carbs? Well, put it simply, carbs are the body's main source of energy, and so when you have less of that, the science here is pretty much, since you don't have those extra carbs to burn, now it's going to start tapping into those fat stores, supposedly causing you to lose weight pretty darn fast. But if you ask me, the logic here is if you remove carbs from your diet, and a lot of it, carbs out of the 3 macronutrients are obviously the most caloric, because when you go throughout your day eating all the foods that you eat, a majority of them are carbs. And so again, when you remove carbs, to put it simply, that's just like saying I'm going to eat a lot less. Okay, so that's why keto works. And trust me, anyone that tells you anything otherwise, like there's this whole science behind it and everything, that's not true. It's because you're having less food, okay? When you have less carbs, that means less calories, meaning that you are more likely to be in a caloric deficit, which causes you to lose weight. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, which is better, intermittent fasting or the keto diet? That honestly depends on you, right? It depends on the individual. Are you someone who would rather continue to eat whatever you want and just restrict your calories into an eating window and then have a fasting window? Or would you rather reduce your carbohydrates instead? So those are the things that you got to ask yourself first before deciding between intermittent fasting and, of course, the keto diet. If you ask me, I would much rather continue to eat whatever I want while implementing intermittent fasting because it's easy. And a lot of people that want to lose weight don't want to have to adjust their diet by eating vegetables and fruits, which is ideal, but like I said, a lot of people don't want to do that. They would rather continue to eat the things that they enjoy, but just in moderation. That is why, in my opinion, I think intermittent fasting is a lot better and easier. But one thing to keep in mind is, like I said, you can still continue to eat whatever you want, and a majority of us don't necessarily eat healthy. So in a sense, that's like saying, let me continue to eat unhealthy, if that's what you already do, just doing intermittent fasting at the same time. But keto involves you having to cut out carbohydrates, which in a sense is good, and you're also applying this adjustment to your diet where you're going to start eating these types of foods instead compared to what you were eating before. So there is a dietary change in the keto diet compared to intermittent fasting. But again, I want to go back to what I said earlier. These two methods of losing weight are awesome. Okay, and I know a lot of people that do intermittent fasting, and I know a lot of people that do keto, and all of those people have gotten the same results, some faster than others, but that obviously depends on how dedicated you are to the journey. And again, just to remind you guys, both of these require you to be in a caloric deficit. So you have to ask yourself first, would you rather continue to eat whatever you want without any sort of dietary change and by implementing intermittent fasting, or would you be willing to make some dietary changes and having less carbs and more fats and proteins? Once you answer that question, then you can decide which one between the two is better. But again, if you want my opinion, I think intermittent fasting is much better, mainly because of how easy it is and how flexible it can be when it comes to people's daily routines. That's all I gotta say about that. If you guys are interested in learning more about weight loss and intermittent fasting, be sure to check out my last video where I talk about intermittent fasting and alcohol consumption. Alrighty guys, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that notification bell so that you never miss out on any future videos. Also, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below letting me know, what do you guys like better, intermittent fasting or keto? And with that said, I will see you guys next time.